don't know how I feel about an avocado frappuccino. I do like avocados in my smoothie, though. But what do you make of this move, given the street's response, Jake? I mean, is he the guy for the job?
You know, it's kind of like, I liken it to, you're a football team, you've got a good quarterback, or even a great quarterback, and you're excited to see what he can do in the next 2 to 3 years. Because I thought Laxman would get at least 2 or 3 years. They had Kevin Johnson 4 to 5 years before bringing Howard Schultz back. But then comes along, and you didn't expect it, Tom Brady in his prime, right? And so you're not going to not sign Tom Brady to your football team to hopefully have a winning team. And so I think all the things Brian has done at Chipotle, and we've been investors in Starbucks for 11 years. It's about a $60 cost basis. We added to the position at 74 back in early May. But we bought Chipotle in October of 2016 during the foodborne illnesses and all the problems they were going through, and then certainly welcome Brian Niccol's all of his efforts, all the menu customization, all the digital transformation, the new stores, the new Chipotle lane, where on mobile ordering, you go through a drive-through lane, you only have to get out of your car and go in and get your food. They just hand you your food through the drive-through. That's certainly the type of innovation that Starbucks absolutely needs. They desire it so much right now. Just like Howard Schultz says, we need a maniacal focus on the customer. The customers, mobile and drive-through, are not letting the legacy experience of the customer walking up to a barista, saying hello, making your order, and waiting for your hot cup of joe inside of Starbucks. That experience is gone.
Right. I'm going to be a bit predictable here, Jake, and come in with a China question, because something I've been noticing in the earnings is, of course, they've been flagging a lot of that China demand and sounding the alarm on that. We know that Starbucks does have a big presence in China. I mean, how is Niccol placed with respect to sort of the international markets, given that Chipotle doesn't have as big of a footprint outside of the US as a Starbucks?
Yeah, and that's a very good question, because I thought that's where Laxman actually had an advantage, having worked for Reckitt, having worked for Pepsi on the global side of things. But no, you're right. China and the U.S. make up 61% of Starbucks business, 42% in the U.S., 19% in China. And that, I mean, we're less than 2 weeks away from that disastrous quarterly report and subsequent interview the next morning with Jim Cramer. That obviously was too bad to work out of. I mean, they must have started negotiations with Brian Niccol almost immediately after that Jim Cramer interview. And because you're right, China sales declined by 17% this past quarter. There's so much competition for the likes of Luckin Coffee and all these tea companies, privately and publicly owned in China. And just like there's so much competition for Apple and for Tesla and for Lululemon. I mean, we're seeing China, we're seeing the great promise of China, at least for U.S. companies, to possibly not be quite the story it was made out to be.